This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. Hey everybody, welcome back. Let's talk about a couple things. The other day, Donald Trump held a press conference that was completely off the rails. I'm sure you've heard, whether you've heard the actual clips or heard about him talk, him saying that the president's authority is total and complete, like he's an authoritarian, or certainly points to the fact that he truly, really does want to be. I want to talk about that, but I also want to talk about an exchange that happened early on in the press conference with a CBS reporter that didn't get a lot of press because of the off-the-rails, dictatorial, totalitarian nonsense that he was spewing forth from his pie hole. And it involves exactly how ignorant Donald Trump is, how stupid Donald Trump is. Look, I don't expect a politician, a real estate developer, let's be kind, if that's what you want to call him, a failed reality TV game show host. That's really what he is. I don't expect him to know about epidemiology or virology or immunology, pandemic science. I don't expect the president, especially this moron, to know about that kind of thing. But what I do expect from a president is to rely upon the expert advice of his advisors. Not political advice, but science advice. And it is clear from the answer he gave this reporter that he is not interested in any of that. Watch the clip.
But how do you close up the United States of America? So on January 6th, no deaths. On January 11th, no deaths. And no cases. On January 17th, no cases, no deaths. I'm supposed to close up the United States of America when I have no cases. All I'm saying is this: how do you close down the greatest economy in the history of the world when on January 17th you have no cases and no death? When on January 21st you have one case and no death. One case. Think of that. Now we're supposed to close down the country.
Now, I don't know if that struck you the way that it struck me. Let me explain to you why it's very troublesome, supremely bothersome to me. Let's go over the quote. But how do you close up the United States of America so on January 6th, no deaths? On January 11th, no deaths. And no cases. On January 17th, no cases, no deaths. I'm supposed to close up the United States of America when we have no cases? And then the second segment of that clip, he says, all I'm saying is this: how do you close down the greatest economy in the history of the world when on January 17th you have no cases or no death? When on January 21st you have one case and no death? Think of that. That's exactly when you do close down the United States of America and implement some sort of social distancing policy, dipshit. Because you need to be proactive as a leader, not reactive. You shouldn't be reacting to things as they happen. You should be looking down the field, looking ahead on your chessboard to see what moves you should be making at future times. And Donald Trump isn't interested in that. And it's not as though he doesn't have some of the best and the brightest around him, like Anthony Fauci, who certainly was giving him this advice. How is it that South Korea was so on top of this? They saw what was coming. They implemented policies in advance of its arrival. Did not wait. And now we're sitting at, let's look at the number. As I'm speaking right now, it is 8:42 p.m. West Coast time. 609,458 cases. Over 26,000 Americans are dead. I'm going to play the same clip that I've been playing on Twitter and on my Facebook page for my podcast. when Donald Trump said that when you have 15 people, this was on January 26th, when you have 15 people and the 15 within a couple of days is going to be down to close to zero, that's a pretty good job we've done.
And again, when you have 15 people and the 15 within a couple of days is going to be down to close to zero, that's a pretty good job we've done.
So January 26th, we had 15 infections in the United States of America, according to Trump. 15 on January 26th. And within a couple of days, by the 28th of January, it was going to be close to zero. What happened, Donnie boy? What happened, brother? 610,000 infections. Thought it was going to be close to zero in 2 days. 26,000 Americans with families and friends and jobs and lives don't have those things anymore. They've died as a direct result of your dereliction to the duty that you swore to uphold the Constitution, to protect the people, to uphold our laws, to be a good and decent president. You did none of those things. People are dead because of your inaction, because of your ego, because of you at the root of who you are. You're an incompetent slob. And had you listened to the experts that were in place, had you not fired the pandemic team that was attached to the National Security Council, we would be in vastly different straits right now. Thousands of Americans would likely be alive, but no. The other thing that I do want to talk about, that I waited a day. Everybody jumped on this, so I wanted to see, because he kept saying during these quotes that we're going to release a legal brief to you to explain how the authority of the president is total. That the local leaders, he said, can't do anything without the approval of the President of the United States. Nonsense. You make me sick. How do you swear an oath to the Constitution, a document that you have zero knowledge of, certainly zero allegiance to, but zero understanding of? You stupid, stupid fool. Watch this clip of him mixing it up with Ryan Lizza explaining his total authority.
Mr. President, just to clarify your understanding of your authority vis-a-vis governors, just to be very specific. For instance, if a governor issued a stay-at-home order...
When you say my authority, the president's authority, not mine, because it's not me. This is when somebody's the president of the United States, the authority is total. And that's the way it's got to be.
Your authority is total.
It's total. It's total.
Your authority
And the
is
governors
total.
know that.
So if a
The governors know that. Now you have a couple of bands of excuse me. You have a couple.
Could you rescind that order?
You have a couple of bands of Democrat governors, but they will agree to it. They will agree to it. But the authority of the President of the United States having to do with the subject we're talking about is total.
When somebody's the President of the United States, the authority is total. It's total. No, it is not. The 10th Amendment of the United States Constitution says, the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited by it to the states are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. And what that means is any power that's not specifically granted to the federal government or any power that's specifically not granted to the states is for the states to hold and have. And by virtue of that, the people. Donald Trump does have the authority to do anything related to shutting down the economies of states or opening up the economies that have been stifled because of social distancing orders, stay-at-home orders by the specific governors. Article 2 under the Constitution does not give him that authority. If any one entity of our government does have that authority, it would be the Congress, through something in Article 1, Section 8, called the Commerce Clause, which states, the United States Congress shall have the power to regulate commerce with foreign nations and among the several states. Which is how we've gotten all kinds of things done throughout our history. It's how largely the civil rights in this country have seen progress. Because if you own a restaurant, that's interstate commerce. That's how we regulate guns in this country, is because of interstate commerce. You can't deny service to someone because of their color, because of their nationality, their creed, their religion, any of these prejudiced, disgusting ideas that were, for the most part, eradicated in the latter half of the last century. That's because of the Commerce Clause. But the Republicans are responsible for this, and not just in the clear sense that they voted for this goon. They're responsible for this. I'm specifically talking about Congress, the Senate, Republican members of the House. They look the other way. They make excuses for Donald Trump. They appease him. They coddle him. Oh, he's new at this. It's his first time in politics. You bow to him. You scrape him. You check into his hotel. You give him business. You look the other way as he violates the Emoluments Clause of the Constitution, taking foreign dollars as profit. You're to blame. You're obsequious, servile cowards, whimpering dogs before this vile reprobate. And your day of reckoning is coming, because November, there's a sea change coming. We might not have the best candidate, but we've got one good enough to beat you. I'd love to know what you think. Call me, 714-576-4054. Email me, daily@dollemore.com. I would love to hear from you. Of course, if you are in a financial position to do so, and I bring enough value to your life, to your day, to your whatever, that you'd like to become a channel member for less than $2 a month. There are different tiers, but for less than $2 a month, you can become a channel member supporting content like this, coming out of mouths like this, and faces, unfortunately, just like this. So again, thank you guys. I appreciate you. Be genuine, and please take care of one another.